Three. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to my first international episode of my webcast, Fall to Rise. I'm your host, James Brown. I'm super excited for this episode. This episode has been a long time in the making. Today's topic is African versus African American, bridging the gap. There's such a difference between us here in America and our people in Africa. There's so many disputes, there's so many misconceptions about our people, and it's oftentimes not true or not understood. So today we're going to try to bridge that gap. We're going to try to get through a lot of these misconceptions, and we're going to try to forge a path forward. Today I'm honored to have my guest Nguru Maina and Zanele Mpile. Did I say it right? Okay, I
Yeah.
said it right.
You can just say Zanel and Guru, it's fine.
Zanele and Nguru, I'm sorry.
Yes. Okay.
Hi, how are you, brother and sister?
We could, thank you,
We're
brother.
doing well. Thank you very much.
Good.
Yeah.
Look, thank you for coming on. This subject kind of hits home with me. It really does. I've always kind of wondered why here in America, when I see an African, I get the feeling that they sometimes don't like us, or they kind of look at us as different, or like we don't relate to them, because in essence, in certain aspects, I don't relate. I don't understand the culture. I don't understand the lifestyle, and I'm pretty sure they feel the same thing about me. Excuse me. Have you heard the same thing about us in Africa?
Yeah,
Same thing here.
same thing.
Same thing. And what part of Africa are you? I'm sorry. What's that?
Yeah. I'm saying we do have some misconceptions. We do have our thoughts of
Sure.
what to expect.
Yeah, myself
Well,
coming from the south of Africa, which is Eswatini, and him coming from Kenya, when we met, we had the similar assumptions about you guys. So you find that I bet the whole of Africa, we just have the same assumption. So I think it's everywhere for us.
well, when you say assumption, what do you think that the typical American is like? The typical Black American?
Gangster, drug dealers, like this bad guy you don't want to even get close to.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Arrogant.
Yeah, very arrogant, disrespectful, all those negative things.
Yeah.
Now, where did this concept of us come from?
Movies, news.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say most of these conceptions are sourced from movies.
Okay.
And if there's something I want to say is we rely very much on your maybe character when it comes to hip hop. A lot of people copy out. We do copy lifestyle from here. So we look at the good and the bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of the misconceptions, like he's saying, comes from the music. For example, hip hop, you find that it has these bad words. You guys use a lot of curses. You
Yes.
use a lot of
Yeah.
it's so for us coming from an African society where we respect cursing is not even allowed. Even if you're playing with your friends, it's not allowed. If a friend hears you cursing, they'll go report it to your mom. So now when you're hearing this thing on music and it's just everywhere, everybody's playing it on their car in their houses, it's like what the for us it's very much frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cursing isn't accepted there. Excuse me.
No. You can really get a good beating for that.
Wow, and that's so weird because that's so normal here in certain circles.
No.
What types of hip hop? Excuse me. What artists are popular with you all out there in Africa?
Types of hip hop.
Yeah, like what artists are popular? What hip hop artists are popular out there in Africa?
The time Tupac was a hit.
It goes with the season.
Yeah.
There were those times of Tupac and Biggie, Lil Wayne,
Eminem,
Badman.
Really?
Even Eminem. Coming, I think today we have.
What is?
I'm
It
trying to
changes with the
remember.
time.
I'm trying to remember because it's been long since I
Listen.
went there. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm a crazy Kanye West fan. So.
Who? I'm sorry.
Kanye.
Kanye.
Yeah.
Kanye is very unpopular amongst Black Americans right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
very
nowadays
unpopular.
we have people like Tiger and those young people and Yeah, and they are these guys with DJ Khaled,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Mhm.
the music is I don't want to say dirty or erotic or something. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you all kind of have this mentality that we're all, drug dealers, we're all gangsters. And it's so funny because you have certain people here that will try to pretend that they are. Now, we do have people here that are drug dealers, gang members. Uh, but in our neighborhoods, I grew up in those types of neighborhoods, and I laugh because there's so many of these guys that are trying to live this lifestyle that they're clearly not a part of. Guys that try to act like they're tough guys, that they're gangsters, they're drug dealers, gang members, robbers, thieves. They're not. It's a lifestyle that hip hop created, and unfortunately, it gives us a bad image, not
Yeah.
just not just in our own communities, but also around the world. So you all see that, you all think that that's how we really are, and it's not necessarily true.
Yeah, for example, there's a time Ti, 50 Cent, they were
Yes.
arrested I think, for drug dealing and all those things. So when
Hmm.
we see the things happening in movies and then it's real life, we really connect with it. We like, these guys are just like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so weird because it happens here, but it's not as rampant or as widespread as people think.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people, we have a lot of areas like Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte, North Carolina. Those areas have a lot of black people that's doing very well. They're highly educated. They're not really getting in trouble. I'm not going to say they're not getting in trouble because there's people that get in trouble everywhere. But it's not the way that we show these things in the movies, even up here. It's not the way that we're portrayed. Do you all have reality TV out there, like the Basketball
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Wives?
do.
Yeah.
You know what's
Yeah.
funny? Those shows are scripted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
We
are
do.
never reality.
What you say?
They are never real. They are never real. It's just some script, act, and then put it out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
so what's so crazy is that there are people here that think that it's real, or they try to portray the characters that are in that show. I have a friend of mine that worked for that show, and he told me that they give them scripts and they tell them to act a certain way, and it's not true. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like life imitating art.
Mhm.
Um, I know here we have this misconception about Africans that in certain cases you live in huts, you live in slums, you live in poor areas. When I type, I'm going to show you a picture when I typed in Africa that popped up.
No
Uh,
electricity, no running water.
yes, mosquitoes everywhere. When I typed in Africa,
Ah.
this is what came up.
Oh
That's
my
what came
Yeah,
up
God.
yeah,
when I
yeah,
typed.
That looks like the
Kibera.
Kibera, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
showing.
I think
Mhm,
I think that's a problem. And
mhm,
there was a time that someone told me that, and I didn't even type Africa. I typed Kenya. And
yes.
if you type Kenya, just
Mhm,
Kenya, don't go to Africa, you find the same thing. You find slums, you find people fetching water,
Animals.
you
mhm,
find the only positive thing you find are elephants and leopards. You
yes.
also find people rioting and police
Mhm,
with guns. You also be
yes.
referred to the post-election violence of 2007.
I think
Mhm,
the positive, what you are seeing as positive, like animals being positive to them, it's
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
negative.
because
Everybody's
yeah.
like, do you guys live with monkeys? Do you guys live with lions? It's
You
positive to
remember?
us, but to you guys, it's scary.
You remember when I
yeah,
first
yeah,
met you guys? I asked you guys, like, if I come visit, will there be lions there? Will there be lions and cobras?
Yeah.
That was the first question that I asked you because I don't do lions. Just personally, I will not be hanging around lions. It's not happening. Because again, that's what we're told. So I actually had to go do some research, and I
Mhm.
had
yeah,
to go look up parts of Africa. Now, for my friends here that are from America, I'm going to show you pictures of Africa that I
yeah,
found, and it was amazing to me. Uh, this right here is Mombasa, Kenya.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like that's Kenya.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's it.
Beautiful
The
white beaches and everything.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you told me that out there you can buy a house for $500 on the beach.
Mm.
Yeah.
That is insane to us.
Yeah, so what I think is when you rely too much on Google, someone can really hate Africa or never even
Yes.
think of coming to Africa.
Mm.
Mhm.
But my advice, because for a long time since African countries got independence, we've been developing, and there are a lot of
Sure.
beautiful places here in Kenya where people are investing in tourism and all that. my advice would be, do not do Google. If you have to
Mhm.
come close to Google, go to Wikipedia. That at
Okay.
least you get some good information about Africa, African
Mhm.
countries, and now you can select whichever country you want to learn. There you
Mm.
find the history, some people, popular people.
Mhm.
Then you can go to YouTube, and
Yeah,
you
short
find
video.
a lot of YouTubers are, are making a lot of good content about African beautiful places you can stay, beautiful places you can visit.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Don't rely on Google, because I think they try to
Controlling the image.
algorithm
Yeah.
is based on what is trending, what
Mhm.
is trending more. And like right now, what is trending more is Nigerians
Yes.
protesting. So if
Yeah.
you write Nigeria, the first thing that will come will be the protests,
Yeah, the
the
bloodshed.
the army killing people.
Mhm.
Boko Haram. That's what you get. If you read
Mhm.
something about Kenya, you find BBI.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now,
So and probably if you wrote about South Africa, you find farmers being killed or coronavirus. You get
mhm.
what is trending in the news. And I'm sorry to say, our media don't do not they do not put a lot of uh,
Energy.
they do not put a lot of energy in promoting the good.
Mhm.
They also
Yeah,
show the bad sides. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the same thing
Yeah,
here.
control. Sorry.
I'm sorry. It's the same thing
Sorry.
here.
I was just saying it's because our media is controlled by the white guys
But
who want a negative image of Africa.
oh, same thing here. It's literally the same thing here.
True.
You see these concepts of us here, and
Mhm.
whenever you see the protest, the Black Lives Matters protest, or people that are protesting police brutality, what they tend to show is the violent parts of it. Excuse me. There's a city here called Newark, which is a very large city, and they had protests there, and the people that tried to protest, uh, sorry, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. The people that were there had a peaceful protest. Now there were outside agitators that tried to infiltrate the protest, and they tried to burn down buildings and riot. The people in Newark broke down. They stopped them. They stopped the protests. They stopped the riots.
Mhm.
You don't hear about that on the news.
No.
All that you hear about is excuse me, Ferguson, Missouri, or you hear about Kenosha, Wisconsin, or Kentucky. You'll hear that they're burning down these areas. Excuse me. Yeah, that's what you'll actually hear. So, yeah, that's usually what you'll hear about us. You'll hear that we're rioting, we're violent, we're fighting each other, which does happen out here, and it shouldn't. But part of the reason for that is that we don't necessarily have a culture like you do in Kenya. I really had to think about something. You all know what tribe you're from. You know
Yeah.
your tribal traditions. We don't. Even if we do ancestry.com, we might maybe get an idea of what country our ancestors lived in. That's it. Just the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know about our culture. We've had to develop our culture from the ruins of what was left from slavery. The first thing that happened when our ancestors came from Africa here, is they took the culture from us. They took the language from us. That was the first thing. And then they made us Christians right after. So we don't have that connection. I remember that you said before that when you were in Italy and you saw another African, it was, hey, my brother, hey, my sister,
Mhm.
because you have that cultural connection.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have that here. Because again, we were taught to hate. First off, we were taught to hate ourselves. Once we were taught to hate ourselves, we were then taught to hate each other. So so if we're taught to hate each other, we're not going to have that love for you all because we hate ourselves.
Yeah.
True.
So it's difficult for us. It really, really is difficult. Now, I think that we both feel that there's a divide between us here in America, Black Americans here in America,
Yeah.
and Africans. What do you think causes the divide?
Okay.
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 Go.
Okay. Apart from the media, the information we've been obtaining from the movies you know, the scripted misconceptions that we have. I think we have been relating some well before say some years back in the times of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, because
Mhm.
if you look at Malcolm X, he was
Mhm.
very well in contact with the African leaders, and I also
Okay.
think Marcus Garvey. Yeah,
Okay.
so I think this is something which was created as we came along.
Sure.
And you know, as your ancestors were going through slavery, here in
Mhm.
Africa, we were also went through colonization. So
Okay.
when you talk about us hating ourselves, it's happening in the US, it's happening in Africa.
Okay.
So even if we have some differences, we also have a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like he's saying, the hate is everywhere. Don't think it's just between us and you guys. Like
Mhm.
this afternoon, I think it's this afternoon, we're talking. Like
Mhm.
you find different tribes saying you cannot marry from a certain tribe. You know. Now, for
Oh
in
wow.
Kenya, tribes. In my country, we don't have tribes, but we have surnames, which is clans.
Mhm.
So you find
Mhm.
that there's a clan that doesn't relate well to a different clan. So I think
Mhm.
that division really came with colonization and the whole slavery, you guys going to the US and us remaining here. So they really made sure that we remain with the hate and you guys remain divided wherever you are. So we
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
there's no, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
let me add, I think this is a very well planned division,
Mhm.
because if I came to the United States, I think my brain was will keep on telling me that if you meet an African American, he'll be
Mhm.
hostile to you. So
Mhm.
I'll be scared.
Scared.
As
Mhm.
you told me the other time that you want me us to visit US, and we were scared because we
Mhm.
don't know how hostile our
Mhm.
brothers and sisters are.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
after talking to you and Jim, you know, we started to loosen up. We
Yeah.
started slowly really getting the whole notion of Black Americans, African Americans being hostile and everything out of our minds. So right now we relate well with you. And I think for us it's a foundation to
Sure.
making bigger relationships with guys in the US.
Yeah.
Well, whenever you come here, I'm going to take you around. We're going to get you some pizza. I don't know if you guys have good pizza out there, but we have good pizza here in America.
Yeah.
Now you asked whether we have pizza.
Exactly.
No. It's good pizza. It's a difference.
Of
But you know
course,
what?
we also have a definition of good pizza here.
Yeah. So like, you know what's weird? Like I was originally born in New York City. So
Yeah.
even I was born in New York City. I live in New Jersey, which is the next state over. And even
Mhm.
here, if we see someone from the South, like from Georgia, Florida, we tell them that their pizza is no good. So
Oh.
whenever we say good pizza is from New York, New Jersey, maybe Pennsylvania or Chicago. That's it. All the rest of it is garbage. So that's why I said you might not have good pizza like New York City pizza.
I haven't heard that in Africa. Like you'd say, Senegal has good pizza compared to Kenya. Do we even have our own pizza?
Oh, it's a difference.
We
Yeah.
actually have this kind of divide when it comes to jollof rice and chebujen.
Yeah, I know that one. Ghana,
always
Senegal,
think that-
Nigeria. Oh God.
They
Well,
always
I've
think that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've heard of jollof rice. I've never had it. No, I think I have had it. I have had it. I have.
Yes, Nigerian will say that jollof rice comes from there,
Ghana.
from there, and all that. So we have this divide. But to come back on what you were saying, I think that like there has been a lot of social engineering, and it's still going on by you, whether it's in the US, it has been by, let's say, the administration, the government, or if it's in Africa, it has been by the former colonial countries. So I think that a common point between the US and Africa, between the African Americans and the Africans, I would say it's due to the fact that they try to erase history,
Yes.
because when you don't have when you don't know your history, you don't know about yourself, it's a bit more complicated to say that you're coming from somewhere than you identify to certain values or let's say that you were a strong civilization. For instance, you cannot say that, okay, we were Egyptians, we were building pyramids. You know, we had the Mali Empire, we had the Ghana Empire, we had a lot of empires on the eastern side of Africa and all that. So when you don't know about your history, it's a bit more complicated, you know, to capitalize on that, and to say, okay, I have an identity. Now I know where I need to go, because I know that I was someone. I know that I was someone before, you know. So when you look at it, I think that like an interesting model is the fact that Chinese, for instance, they went through a cultural revolution, for instance.
Yeah.
Some of those superpowers, they went through cultural revolutions first before going to economic, before developing more the economic aspect, or before being more, how to say, economically independent and all.
Well, you know something that's interesting that I've had to explain to people. My niece and nephew are 7 and 9 years old, so they were born during the Obama administration. So they were also born during the era of the movie Black Panther. The reason that that's significant is when I was a kid, the concept of a black president was unfathomable. The mentality was, okay, we'll get people that will be close, but we'll never have a black president here. I'm pretty sure if you listen to Tupac talked about it in a song. We say, even though it seems heaven sent, we're not ready to have a black president.
Yeah.
So, you know, you all know what it's like to have a black president. You all know what it's like to have black superheroes. We didn't know about that until 2008. So for 12 years, we've understood the concept of our own people being in power, which is crazy. Like my niece and nephew, they don't know what life is like without a black president, without there having been a previous black president. They don't know what that's like. So when I tell them, oh, you know, before Barack Obama, there were no black presidents, they think that I'm crazy. Because they kind of look at me like, what do you mean? Like all of the presidents were white? Yes, literally all of them. So, you know, I think that also plays a part with us, because we're not used to seeing ourselves in that level of power. Out there in your countries, you've seen black presidents, black prime ministers, black superheroes, black people in the power. We're still getting used to that. We're still understanding what that's like. Like, I'm pretty sure that you've had female presidents in your countries.
Yeah, Ethiopia. Is it?
We've never had one. Still.
Is she
Sorry?
President Ethiopia?
Yeah, we have the president of Ethiopia, although she's appointed by the prime minister. The prime minister is the head. Then we had one in Abdullah. Can you?
Yes, sorry, go ahead. Where
Johnson from? Like
Liberia.
Ellen Johnson, Liberia.
Yes.
So in Liberia, we had the interim. We also in Gabon, they had an interim female president. I think that in Mauritius, in Malawi as well.
Sure.
Central Africa. So female president has been quite, you know, of a thing in Africa. You know, it has been.
Yeah, but James, do you know
Yes.
where we are similar? That when it comes to you guys not being used to a black president. Now for us
Yes.
in Africa, it happened because of the tribes. Now they use the division of the tribes. You are not
Yes.
used to another tribe leading the country. So for example,
wow.
in Kenya, you have most of the presidents are Kikuyus from the, is it the dominant tribe, or what do you call it? The ones,
It's like the biggest.
Yeah, the biggest. So you find that the president will be Kikuyu. So the kids will not be used to a president being a Kalenjin or anything like that. The other tribes now that they have.
Maybe
Meru.
we know we have the smaller tribes.
Yeah.
The coastal tribe of Midikenda or the northern tribes of Borana and Turkana, you know.
Yeah, so you grow up not knowing that one from those smaller tribes can also lead your country. So I think it's the same that way.
What's so crazy about us is that we know, like, it's almost as if you're speaking a foreign language when you talk about tribes, because we don't have that here. We have our own cities, we have our own towns, but you know, if you were to ask someone, "Hey, are you you're a Zulu?" What? We don't know. I remember when we were in school, we would actually have to dress up as African tribes. So we had the Zulus, the Ashantis, to kind of pay homage to them, but we know nothing of their actual cultures. We know nothing. So.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me say. Something that I think you guys don't know is Africa. Ancient Africa was full of different people, not very different, but differentiated a little bit by language. And most of these languages are almost similar. The reason you hear Bantu, you hear something Bantu or Kushites or Nilotes or, so we were the same people speaking almost similar languages, because you find two languages where people understand each other.
Okay.
And when these people came, we got divided by those tribes. They called them tribes, but actually each was its own kingdom. In fact, you hear the king of the Maasai, the king of the Luya. Yeah, so they were kingdoms, small kingdoms, which lived not alone. They were actually interacted with each other. They traded with each other. Most of they wash. In fact, you look at religious spirituality, similar. So we have like thousands of tribes, but same people. I think that's something that people don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it actually ties into what I wanted to get into next. There's so many just misconceptions of Africa here. For instance, one of the things that we're told is that you all live in huts. Not all, but it's prominent. People living in huts or living in those poor areas with flies all around them, and there's poverty, people starving. You always see the commercials like, "Hey, donate money to Africa," because there's starving children everywhere.
That's the money making stuff.
Is that really a big deal, especially in Kenya or in other parts of Africa, where you really have those large areas and everyone's poor and people are starving, they have no way to eat? Is that something that's common out there?
Yeah. So what happened here after independence? These people came and took our lands. They took our lands from. We have Central Highlands. We have Rift Valley Highlands. I don't know. They are called Western Highlands or something. So what happened is they came. They tricked. The first thing you do when you go to a new place, is you learn their language, so they gain your trust. So you trick them, and you take their land. So you find they trick the Maasai, they trick the Kikuyu, they trick the Kalenjin, and a lot of other tribes. So when you trick them, you take big chunks of land, and you put people in villages, very poor villages with small lands, so they work for you. These people become your slaves. Then when we got independence, there's something we call land injustice, because the people who are supposed to get back their land didn't. So if you come to Kenya, you find large pieces of land owned by some black companies or white people who still own, and that's the same thing across Africa. That's why you find something like Mugabe, the former president of Zimbabwe. He took land from the whites and gave it back to Africans. That's why you find, Robert Mugabe. You know him?
Yes.
The former president of Zimbabwe.
Do you know what we're told about him? We're taught that he's an evil dictator that slaughters his own people.
No. Now I'm telling you what he did. He actually, they created a constitution with the white people, and let me explain in a layman's language. So it stated that it was supposed to be something like in 80s, they were supposed to take land from the whites and give it back to the people, but you could actually buy some part of the land and give back the rest to the government. And the person who was supposed to buy the land was the British government, which they never did. So the constitution would add 10 years up to the 1990s, to the time when now the government of Zimbabwe can get back their land. When it came to that point, and these people could not buy, they refused to buy the land, they actually the president took back the land and gave to the people. That's where the
Mhm.
problem started.
Mm.
So
Oh, wow.
they make him look bad, but he's one of the best
That's what they
presidents.
always do.
So after
Mhm.
after that point, that's where they would try to sabotage everything,
Mhm.
including shipping out machinery, taking all the money out of the country, and other
Mhm.
things. Other things I think you need to maybe just check on YouTube. You find people explaining all this. Yeah.
Mm.
So
Mm.
we have Zimbabwe having a lot of problems today because
Mhm.
of that. Yeah, they're still under sanctions from US, from Europe, and yeah.
Yeah, we were told that he was this evil man that was torturing his people. They hated him, that they wanted him out for years, but he was this brutal dictator. We were told the same thing about Gaddafi, that Gaddafi was this evil man that was a terrorist, uh, that the Africans wanted out.
What?
Yeah.
Usually, if you allow me to talk, usually when you see that the media, the mainstream media, they are criticizing someone like it could be like in Asia, in Africa, or in Middle East. It usually means that this person is doing something for her people,
Yeah.
for his people.
I
So
see
if
it happening in Tanzania.
yeah, so if you try to do something, you try to, how to say, to prioritize the development of your country. You're trying to nationalize some companies, like some multinationals, and you're trying to just redistribute the profits from the economy to just to drive it towards your people. You will see that they will either find a militia. You will just find, you will just hear about like a militia, something that is, there's this new region, there's a militia that is trying to create a coup, or that this guy is killing his people, or so it's usually the same narrative that goes across, across every developing countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And I know the Sam, you had your hand up. I don't want just for those of you that are new to the show. I normally do a Q&A at the end, but this is such an important topic that I'm actually going to do. I'm going to allow comments during the show because I think that we need to have dialogue with each other. So
Yeah.
Sure.
yeah. Sam.
Okay, so I raised my hand up when you guys mentioned the thing about Africans living in huts, and so it's true that people like live in huts, but it depends on the metrics that people are using to measure. So you find people like living in huts because huts are the most practical way of living. So we don't experience winter. We have like a temperate climate throughout the year. So like, what's wrong with living in a hut? It's something comfortable, and so people live in huts, but it's not as people. Just not everyone lives in huts. We have town, we have cities.
Yeah, like for example, just to add on that, the hut comment. In my country, we eroded our tradition for some time. Maybe the buildings and everything, although we are still rooted in our traditions, but the buildings and everything we modernized a bit. But of late, you find that a lot of households are building huts within their household. In fact, they are touching it with grass because it's the in thing. If you don't have it, you're like, who are you? You need to have it because they say a hut, it's cool, it's this place. It's even if the temperatures in the other house, in the brick house, are high, in the hut it's always cool and it's always manageable. If it's cold, you always find the best temperature in the hut. So for us, it's
Really?
coming slowly, yeah, because of that.
Oh wow!
It's
Wow.
not fashionable right now.
Yeah,
See,
I want.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Can I add on it?
Sure.
Yeah. So I wanted to tell you, if you came to Kenya like for a visit, I'm sure you won't see a hut anywhere.
Yeah.
But
Well,
there are places where you can go and find huts. Most of these places are where people are pastoralists and they move around with their animals. So it's the practical way of maybe residing somewhere for a month, then moving to another place.
now,
You also Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go on.
Now I was going to ask. Now the areas with the huts, is that where the lions are and the snakes and all the other animals that
Yeah,
will prevent
I'm
from
sure.
visiting them?
I'm sure you also find maybe one or two, but mostly you find because it's a rangeland where people
Sure.
interact with these animals, but rarely in because these animals are normally in national parks and game reserves.
In my whole 4 years in Kenya, almost 5 now, I've never seen a snake.
Okay.
Any,
So now
yeah.
you're
So
making
you
me
can
want to
really go
visit now.
for years without seeing it.
Now, have you seen a lion?
In the park, in the national parks and everything.
Okay.
Not
just-
anywhere.
Yeah.
Because if you would have told me that you saw either one of those, my trip is off. Yeah, I'm good. No, I don't do lions, snakes. Any of
Unless
those
you
animals
go
that you
looking
told,
for them, then you will see them. Yeah, sorry.
with my luck, they'll
I
probably
was
be
saying
waiting in front of the
unless
hotel.
you go look. Okay. Oh, sorry.
With my luck, they'll be waiting in front of my hotel. I have that kind of luck. It'll be like a lion, snakes, hyenas. They'll be in front of the hotel waiting for me. So,
No.
No.
Marlena, you had a
Unless you
question?
should, there are those hotels in the national parks.
They actually
They are actually
huts.
inside the national park. So it's like a hut. You can see the animals.
Mhm.
A very big hut, a very modernized. Yeah.
So,
I don't know
so
how you share pictures. I could share maybe
Yes.
an example.
you'd have to do the share button. While you're trying to look for that, Marlena had a question.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we
can.
can.
Hi. Actually, I've heard like different stories. Mike, I've heard beautiful stories about Kenya. I actually named my daughter Kenya. I've heard Kenya was, awesome, beautiful place, So, of course, like you did mention, we've heard, about the huts or what have you. But then I've also heard about, there are places that are beautiful and rich,
Yeah.
and especially Kenya. I've heard very, very nice. That's one of the places I've actually wanted to visit, years and years ago. I was like, okay, once I got a chance to visit, I've heard, such a beautiful place, and as you mentioned also, Mike, about the animals. I'm not a big fan of being close to the animals, but I've also been intrigued, and want to see the, from afar, just a
Mhm.
beautiful, wow, kingdom type of scenario. So,
Mhm.
I've heard great things, as well as, of course, like they, as well as for us, they've heard, the good and maybe the bad stories. And
Sure.
that's
Sure.
all, I wanted to say.
Sure. Sure. Thanks, Marlena.
You're welcome.
Yeah. But yeah, it's so true. Speaking of stories, there's so many things about Africa that we've heard. Maybe you all can kind of shed light on some of them. One of the things that we've heard about Africa is that they have polygamy. So you have men that have multiple wives out in Africa.
Yeah.
It's illegal here in America. If you have multiple wives here, it's illegal. Uh, do you have that in Kenya or Swaziland or throughout Africa?
Yeah. Let me say, polygamy is something that has been practiced for, I think, since Africa was created. It's
Mhm.
something that's been going on, although today it's not very common in Kenya because of
Okay.
the interaction with Christianity.
Okay.
But you find people doing it. People do have up to five wives.
Hey, that's little.
Kipiegon can tell you about a very
Ooh.
famous old man.
Mhm.
So in Africa, polygamy is very, very common. And
Mhm.
before today it's done by the man, but
Mhm.
according to our history, this was something which was initiated by the first wife, the second. The wives were the ones who initiated polygamy. So it was something which was done by
In
the family.
agreement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what about child marriages? We hear about that at times. Does that still happen?
In some parts of my country, it still happens.
Child
Child
marriages.
marriages.
Yeah, yeah, it also happens here in Kenya. You find in the marginal lands, in the marginalized areas,
Hmm.
in the pastoralist places, you find that they have this women circumcision, where after
Okay.
that the kid or the teenage or the young girl is considered as uh, an adult. So she can be married off to an older guy so that the
Hmm.
family can get we have dowry where you marry someone and you pay bride price. Although it's something very normally it's something very spiritual,
Hmm.
Do
but
you guys have bride price? I want to
Do
know.
we have what? I'm sorry.
Do you pay bride price,
dowry.
dowry? When you
No,
marry a girl, you don't. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
no.
So
Just married them.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
no.
so
You just married them.
the family will get some maybe some cows or sheep after marrying of this young girl, and you find it also happens after droughts and all that.
It's
Mhm.
usually really for sustaining the family. They usually do it out of desperation, especially
So,
nowadays. I don't know about those long ago times.
so how young do they marry these children out there?
12.
Yeah, teenagers.
12.
Yeah.
So they're getting them pregnant and having children at 12.
Some do.
But you
Wow.
see, by 16 you can even find a girl having 2 kids.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't really happen here. Over here, if you do that, you go to jail.
Yeah, if even here it
The road.
from yeah, if you are arrested you are jailed. But that's why I'm saying it happens in those
Marginalized.
yeah marginalized places
Mhm.
although they are still you find organization trying to like take the girls and put them in some shelters where they go through their studies until they have completed.
Mm.
So you find a lot of girls being saved from early marriages and
Mhm.
women women circumcision.
And
It's
and
actually
yeah,
called female genital
is it
mutilation.
funny? Isn't it funny that most of these organizations that come to save these young girls are white people,
Mhm.
really foreigners coming to save them. I think
Mhm.
I find it very funny because the community, you find that they are okay with it, and then just
Mhm.
outsiders come and say we need to save these girls. This is not right. According to who? Because if their traditions allow it, I don't know.
Mhm.
I have mixed feelings about it.
Reaction.
I don't know.
Although nowadays you find local people having
Yeah, because of the
start
teachings,
starting
slowly
the
they are being taught this is wrong, this you shouldn't be doing that, so they start to accept it, and they're like, yeah, come and save them if you have to save them.
Mm.
So I
Wow.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that here. We actually have a famous singer, R. Kelly. That was he's in jail now because he was dating young girls.
I
A
yeah
lot of
remember that.
yeah
I don't
in
know.
fact
Yeah.
even here if you are if the parents took you to court for that you'll be jailed.
Yeah.
Like R.
You are
Kelly was.
supposed
Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah you're supposed to have the idea of age before you move on with the dating.
See, up here, R. Kelly was dating girls that were 16, and he's in jail now because of it.
Wow. That's
Because
Oh,
a
he was
good.
sleeping with girls that were 16, and in certain cases, the parents gave them away. But here, you go to jail for that.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
that the
16.
situation, sorry to cut you. I think that the situation is very different, like different across Africa, like it's something that happens. And even in Kenya, if it happens, it's very localized in rural area, in certain areas, you know
Mhm.
and then in some very small community. But the trend is like this is something that tends to disappear. Me
Mhm.
coming from West Africa, let's say, coming from Senegal, over there, maybe I haven't heard of it from my experience. I haven't heard of child marriage. I know that
Mhm.
it's something that happens, that can happen, but I've never heard of it. I've never experienced it. When it comes to polygamy, Senegal is a Muslim country, as you might know.
Mhm.
I'm Muslim myself, and then
Mhm.
it's something that is sometimes associated to the Islamic traditions, you know.
Mhm.
And then but initially it's something that was that has been here since, you know, for a while, even before Islam, you know.
Mhm.
So polygamy is not really is something that happens, but like it's something that tends to disappear as well, like in, especially in those urban societies when you see that every woman is very uh, everyone is free to speak, everyone is very well emancipated and all that. So you, it's yes, it's very, I would say, it's very.
July, are you considering it yourself?
No. my dad, my dad, like when we look at it like from my family, I look at it from my family perspective, like my dad did not do it, so why would I do it?
Yeah.
But like, yes, it's something that happens in Senegal. I'm not going to lie, it's something that happens because there is, how to say, there's a lack of, I don't know if it's the ratio, I don't know if it's the culture, but it's something that happens from time to time, and it tends to be more accepted, especially by women that like have issues finding a husband, you know. And then so it's a bit complicated, but it's something that happened, yeah. But one last thing, when it comes to lions and all those animals, like actually most African have not seen lions and all those animals their whole lives, and
Okay.
they are completely unaware of those things. They know that it exists, but they don't have this culture of trying to see lions and all that. They will actually try to run away from those from so me, the first time that I had this experience is when I traveled to Kenya. I was there for work, and I was with an Italian colleague, and she really wanted to visit safari, to go to a safari. And she was, let's go to a safari, let's go to a safari. I was like, I am African, why would I do that? I am afraid of getting killed by a lion and all that. But that's the first time, and this was not, yes, initiated by me, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's so weird to us because we feel the same way here. Like we laugh, and it's nothing against white people, but whenever we hear about people going on safaris, it's white people. It's not. It's not us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll look at. We'll just say, you know what, that can kill me. No, no. That's
Yeah.
why. That's why I told you. When I come out there to Africa, if I see a lion, I'm hopping back on the plane.
You won't see it
You won't see it.
unless you go
You might-
looking for it.
You might not see anything.
Yeah.
I'll definitely go to the city. Marlena, you had a question? Marlena?
Just real quick. So are there not areas where they hunt still? You know,
It's in Kenya. It's mostly illegal. It's considered poaching. Although if you want to snack a wild animal, there are places you could go where they have licenses for that. I think Abdullah can tell you where.
Just before that, in my country, we have is it a traditional what do you call this
A traditional
ceremony?
day.
There's a traditional day for hunting. Now the king leads the rich men and everyone. They go out to the national parks and hunt. But of late, it has been cut down because of most of the animals going extinct and everything. But we have it in our country. So when they find that there's the number of, what do you call this, impalas? I don't know if you know
Yeah.
impalas. If they have a lot of impalas during that,
Gazette.
during that year or season, they will revive it and it will be there. So it will be announced in the radios. We will be having butimba. That's what it's called. So the guys, the hunters and everything will gather their spears and join the king in that. But really, it's starting to get out of fashion and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, a question. One of the misconceptions that we have over here is that they don't speak English quite frequently in Africa or all over Africa. Can
You
we
find
dispel?
a 9-year-old speaking English.
Yeah. I can tell you, there are places where you can go. Okay, if you want to visit a country in Africa, after, like I said, you go to Wikipedia, you see Africa, then you see the 55 countries. You select your own country, the one you prefer. They will tell you the lingua franca, the language that is spoken there. They will tell you for example, Senegal. They will tell you there are a lot of languages. There are many languages there, but the common one would be Wolof and French. If you come to Kenya, you find it's Swahili and English. So if you come to Kenya, wherever you are, even if you're in the village, you speak English and someone will reply to you in English.
Really?
But yeah, if you go to Senegal, it will be different. If you go to the Gambia, which is inside Senegal, people will speak to you in English because they have English as the lingua franca, but they can speak to each other through the local language, Wolof or I think Mandingo or something. So if you go to Tanzania, it will be different. Some people will try to speak to you in English, but you know they had this sometimes back in Tanzania you could only learn English when you're in high school. So you know in Kenya you start from like grade 1. So there's this confidence in English. So if you go to Tanzania, people will speak to you in English, which is closer to Swahili. So beware of that. If you go to Ethiopia, they won't speak to you in English because they do learn English, but they are comfortable with Amharic.
If you go to Mozambique, you find it so hard to communicate. They don't speak English. They don't speak. Okay, they speak their local language, but for you coming with English, find it difficult to communicate to anybody.
Yeah, because they speak
Portuguese.
They have Portuguese. So different African countries who have different languages, and if you really need to interact, you either need to learn the local language or you select a country that will have a language that you know, mostly English and French. Portuguese is just 2 countries, and I think Spanish is 1. Most of the countries are French and English.
Okay. Jim had a question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. This is beautiful, my brother. How you doing, sister, brother? I love you out of death. Yeah, JB, once again, you knocked it out the park, my brother. This is such a great dialogue that we're having today. And it's one of the most important dialogues I've seen in a while, because I mean, we have shared stories via YouTube and had our sisters and brothers from Africa speak on YouTube, but it's so important for us to be able to share dialogue with each other, not just the 2 hosts talking to one another. You have the regular questions coming from the regular African Americans and the regular Africans on the continent. So I think this is so beautiful, my brother, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And I actually have to run now. Someone just came in the country. I have to go pick up from the airport. But I want to tell you, it's a great show. And sister, brother, I hope you're able to share a little bit more of East Africa, because I learned just from meeting my family here how easy it is to travel in East Africa versus West Africa. I mean, we know this was by design because we as African Americans are much more attached to West Africa, because that's, of course, where the transatlantic slave ships depart from, was West Africa. So we're more attached. So they made it very difficult to get back to West Africa. I was unaware how easy it was to get to Kenya. I was telling my sister and brother that I got to get this shot, I got to get that shot. And they told me, no, brother, just come. You don't. I didn't know that. So there's a total difference in traveling to East Africa, Kenya versus West Africa. And my sister, brother can share some of the programs they have. I'm learning myself. I will be there at the end of December. So it's just such, I didn't know that. West Africa is so difficult to travel to, so difficult versus East Africa. So I'm sure my sister and brother will share all that with you. And I just love being a part of this. And once again, JB, you knocked it out of the park. Thank you, sister, brother, for coming on. But this is what we need, dialogue with the average African-American and the average African on the continent. These are brothers and sisters, and we need to be able to speak to them directly. So let's continue this the best way we can. And once again, thank you. And I love being a part of all your lives.
Thank you,
Jim.
Jim.
You're quite welcome. You got it.
Thank you.
So, to add on what Jim said on transportation, you know, it's easier cause traveling. Yeah, it's easier cause you find like the biggest airlines will be around this area, like on the east. So I've had people saying if you have to travel from Ghana to Nigeria, it sometimes you find an option is to go to Europe then come back. But yeah, so it's easier to travel when you are in maybe say across East African countries compared to West African countries. Yeah.
Maybe Abdullah can tell us.
Yeah, Abdullah.
Yes, it's absolutely that. The thing is that in West Africa, they did not really develop the. We initially had this continental airliner called Air Afrique prior to the 2000, and but because of some economic issues, like we ended up it ended up failing. But in East Africa, they do have Kenya Airways, Ethiopian Airlines, which are the two major companies in Africa that are actually facilitating transportation, like traveling from a country to another. And Kenya and Ethiopia had a really good strategy when it comes to developing and creating hubs in the country in order to facilitate transportation. So it's really easy over there. When it's a different story in West Africa because of, let's say, maybe the underdevelopment or the lack of interest from our how do you say, politicians, chief of state, for instance. They did not really try to collaborate with other countries in order to create a regional airline that can facilitate transportation within Africa. But there's still a lot of airlines, sorry, that are facilitating transportation. But it's a bit expensive, let's say, and then coming from the US perspective or the European perspective, it's very easy to travel from Europe to West Africa. It's really easy to travel from East Africa to West Africa, let's say. But from America, for instance, me, whenever I go to Senegal, I have to transit through Europe first.
Oh, wow.
I have to go to Europe first in transit before going to Senegal. But I know that Delta used to have a direct line with Senegal from New York, and then so few companies have actually direct flights to Senegal and other countries. So it's yes, it's possible.
Yeah, that's what it is here. Like us. I'm sorry.
I wanted to find out how it is for the locals. Is it easy for you, Abdullah, to go to Ghana using your Senegalese passport? Or is it also difficult within?
Yes, because we have, as you know, we have those regional blocks, like regional economic blocks and regional economic and cooperation blocks, such as the CEDEAO. I don't know in French, in English, sorry. Yeah,
ECOWAS.
ECOWAS, sorry. So we do have passports like that allow us to travel within all the countries of the bloc. And so as soon as you have your passport, your Senegalese passport, for instance, I can travel easily to Cote d'Ivoire without having a visa. I can travel to, let's say, Ghana. I can travel to Burkina Faso without having a visa. So this facilitates a lot of things, like when it comes to transport.
Okay.
Yeah. In addition to that, I think that's something that the African Union has been trying to promote. You've heard of the African Continental Free Trade Area. It's measuring on that in a way that Africans will be able to transit in countries without requirement of visa and all that. So these blockages will will be like demolished, and you can go anywhere with you just your passport.
Yeah. For now, we have the rich now.
Yeah, and when you come to East Africa, we have the East African community, where you can travel to the countries of the bloc without the requirement of visa, and sometimes without even the passport. I can go to Ethiopia, I can go to Rwanda, Uganda without a passport. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, now they are trying to make it like continental.
Okay.
So from next year, we are hoping it will be something that will be relying on. I can go to Senegal without visa. I can go to Nigeria. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Now, are you all having an issue with COVID-19 out there in Africa? Is it a big issue?
In the news, please.
Yeah. Let me say this. COVID-19. You know our government. Some are very corrupt. You know that. So when COVID came, there was some funds which were to be given to each country to cater for this COVID-19. So most of the government would say no. I would say, according to my opinion, it's not a thing. You can even see on the tally, it's not a big. In fact, the time when it started, people are wearing masks, hiding in houses. But nowadays people don't even wear masks.
Go to the market.
And now they are saying that the cases are rising. But when we look at Tanzania, the president said there's no COVID-19 in Tanzania. So, and I don't know what is happening down there, but
it's bad here.
I think they are okay. I think they are okay. So we should all be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, here it's pretty bad. The cases are rising. I have a few friends of mine that passed away from COVID. I had a relative that passed away from it. It's bad here. But also, you have to think about it. We're all right next to each other. Everybody's breathing each other's air. So I think it's a lot more densely populated here in America, especially in the Northeast where I live.
So let me ask: are there some people saying that some of the cases are like not COVID? They are not COVID, but they want to put it as COVID.
Yes, there are people here that are saying that.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. It's so weird. I got so much on. I went so far away from the questions that I had because our conversations have been so good. Let me at least try to get to a couple of them before I open it up for an official Q&A, so that we can actually speak to each other, ask each other questions, because I've been asking you questions. I haven't really given you a chance to ask me questions. So let me just get these out the way. Do you think that in Africa, do you all think that Black Americans hate you?
Like that you guys hate us?
Yes.
Personally, I don't think we think that, but we have that fear of you guys. But I think when you really ask the ordinary person if we think you guys hate us, I don't think they'll say yes. But we just fear you guys. We have that fear. You are, and what goes on. Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Okay. I don't think we hate you.
No, like, do they think? Do we think they hate us?
Okay, I don't think.
We think so.
Like, okay, we don't. No. What?
Do Africans think that African Americans hate us?
Yeah, we don't think that you hate us. I think what the thing is, because we love you guys, and if you want to, if you really want to experience it, just try and come, just maybe for a weekend, come to Kenya for a weekend, and you'll be received. We invite people like the celebrities. We find Rick Ross coming here, Chris Brown coming here, and people will be running to see him. So we also don't think that you guys hate us. We think we have this fear of, is it true? And if it's true, we have people who have gone to the US. Why aren't they experiencing the same? We just have to remove that fear and that question out of our mind.
Yeah, I think if you were to ask that question to someone who has been to the US and maybe received some hostile who are coming from you guys, would answer the question differently. Maybe they'll say that they think you guys hate them.
Mhm. Now, for
Yeah.
the rest,
So for us, personally, because we've not been there, we don't even think about it.
okay. Now, for those that are, for the other folks that are on the show that are from Africa, have any of you had any negative experiences with Black Americans or African Americans?
Me personally, no, not at my level.
Okay.
No, not really, not really.
Okay.
I always had this idea that like American were welcoming, like were really welcoming people, but like this
Mhm.
might be from the fact that I lived a bit in France and in Europe is a bit of a different story, you know, when
Okay.
you interact with like, with Europeans because of the colonial past and everything,
Mhm.
tend to they will show you that they sometimes that you are not welcome, you know, not all the time, but like
Mm.
because of that, yes, I always had a good impression. How do you say a good impression like of Americans.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
And James,
Now,
I'm not necessarily from Africa. I mean, my ancestors are certainly, but I'm originally from Haiti. And I would
okay.
say I've experienced it. I've experienced racism from
Sure.
African Americans and
Mhm.
white people. So I can see where that's coming from, at least the connotation that African
Mhm.
Americans and Africans don't necessarily see eye to eye in America.
Well, the town that I grew up in New Jersey, we have the largest Haitian population in the state of New Jersey, and there was an issue between Black Americans and Haitians. Well, they actually created two gangs, and they would constantly fight each other. The Haitian gang and the American gang, Black American gang. So I understand, I get it, and for the life of me, I never understood it, why they fought each other. But I understand the concept that they do, and to me, it makes no sense. And
Yeah,
so,
same here.
yeah, it made no sense. I mean, maybe it's just a clash of culture, or maybe again, maybe the Haitians over there were told to hate us, we were told to hate them, and no one ever bothers to question, like, well, why do we actually hate them? Yeah,
Well,
I think that's.
I think, sorry,
well,
Jim, continue.
in my opinion, brother,
Mm.
we would
Thank you, froze, Jim.
definitely toward this. I mean, it
Mhm.
goes to be divided and I froze. Am I there?
No, you're back. You're back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. Sorry about it. Of course, it's the Wi-Fi, but of course we were taught this.
Yeah.
We were indoctrinated with this to hate ourselves first off, and to hate
Yeah.
each other. But
Yeah.
the thing I'm learning, okay, with the classes that we're actually going through, it's more of a culture class. It's definitely
Yeah.
black on black. We were taught that. We
Mm.
definitely have to get rid of that. But we have to accept we come from different cultures.
Yeah.
So at this point, we in traveling to different countries and seeing our brothers and sisters for the first time, we have to understand and accept we come from different cultures and to respect that and
Yeah.
try to intertwine the cultures. So it's more
Yeah.
cultural, just like it's tribal. Hell, Africa is going through hell with each other over tribes. It's the same
Mhm.
thing there. So what we're going through with the Haitians, I'm not saying we, but I'm saying America, it's a culture clash.
Mhm.
Even if it's the street gangs, it's still a cultural thing, even at the street
Mhm.
level. So we have to
Yeah.
understand that we were taught this first off to hate ourselves. So we have to get by that. Then we have to get to the culture end of it and to
Yeah.
accept we come from different cultures. I
Mhm.
love our African American culture. We don't think, and
Mhm.
seriously, in Africa in America, we don't think we have a culture. We trying
Yeah.
to get away from it and run to other cultures. No, we have a vibrant culture. The
Yeah.
world mimics and copy African American. The
Yeah.
world, white, Chinese, everything. And then they
Mhm.
feed it to Africa. They feed it to Haiti. And it baffles my mind how in Africa they can say, brother, sister, you don't have a culture. I'm not saying all, but they
Mhm.
don't know what they learn and what they copy from the Europeans and the Asians. European and Asians got it from us. in America. So I mean, we have done it. We struggle with it in America as well, accepting our own culture and embracing ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess those are two main. We're culturally different, and we
Yeah.
have to understand. We want to hold on to our culture. Africans on the continent will hold on to their, Haitians will hold on to theirs, and we just have to learn to come together because of our melanin, because of our blackness. We have to understand, but we will hold our cultures intact. So I just wanted to add that little tidbit.
It's true. I mean, if you think of it like this, if we get pulled over by the police, I don't think they're going to differentiate. Like, okay, well, you're American, so you're fine, but those Africans, let's go. Be like, all of y'all get out the car. So, like, I don't know if you guys
they're shooting all of us the same.
Exactly. Like, I don't know if y'all have an issue with police brutality over there, but it's huge here. It's a big deal with, especially Black Americans, and it's historic. Like, it's been happening for generations with Black people, Black Americans being killed by the police. So, you know, that's kind of why I made that small joke, because it's true. You know, we seem to have this mentality that, oh, well, I'm different from them. And I don't know if certain Africans have this mentality about us, because one thing that I've heard about us is that we're fat and lazy and violent and aggressive, and we don't want to do anything. And I've been told this by people. Like, why don't you all finish college? Well, because college is like $40,000 a year here. At least $40,000 a year.
But talking about, James, I think from my point of view, from somebody that came from a different country and living now in America, I feel like my brother before was saying, it's the way that we are portrayed. Yes, our culture is being portrayed in other countries in different ways. And I think back when I used to be in Haiti and seeing movies, the African Americans in the movies, they're always being portrayed as, you know, the gang leaders and all of those bad things. And I think that has something to do with it, certainly. And I think one great thing that happened with Black Panther is the way like African Americans are viewed, because in that sense, and I think that's when African Americans really truly kind of embrace their African nature, because before then it wasn't a good thing to tell African Americans that they are African. They're like, no, I'm African American, I'm not African. But after Black Panther, I really do see the shift. Now every African American, or a lot of us are embracing our African part, because we realize that we are from Africa, we are from a great continent, and that kind of opened our mind a little bit more to see that Africa is more than just seeing the poor kids on TV. There's a whole lot more than that.
As I said earlier, my niece and nephew were born during the time that Black Panther came out, so the idea of a Black superhero or of Africa being prominent is normal to them. We didn't have that growing up. We thought that in Africa, everybody was starving or at war or had bones in their noses or lived in huts. And, you know, we see the commercials of the poor African child with the sad music, and you have to donate money because the Africans need so much help from us. That was the image that we were given. So we kind of have that mentality, like, man, they're poor. Why are they so poor? You know, why are they in such a bad situation? And then we would also they'd show us videos and movies of Africans being savages and dancing and being cannibals, you know, killing their own. Like Hotel Rwanda was a huge movie here when they talked about the Rwanda genocide. We don't realize that was 26 years ago. Like, but we still talk about it as if it's current. So when we talk about bridging the gap, I think part of the first thing that we have to do is dispel these rumors. We have to dispel these misconceptions. We have to talk to each other. And I think that we're so afraid of each other that we're afraid to talk to each other. And when you're afraid, you allow other people to tell you what your brothers and sisters are really like. So you allow others to tell you, oh, you know, they don't like you, right? Oh, you know that they slaughter like monkeys, and they do another thing. They're going to do voodoo on you. And we're like, wait, what? Oh, no, no. Because that's another misconception, that everyone in Africa does voodoo. And if you piss one of them off, they're going to put a spell on you. And, you know.
I think what we need to do is, first we need to learn about each other, because that's very important. That's how you know where I'm coming from. And actually, you need to know what is voodoo before you get scared of voodoo.
Yes, I need to know, because I had someone contact me recently on Facebook that told me that he could do a spell and make me rich. So I don't know where this guy is from. All I know is he had an African name. I blocked him immediately because no.
Yeah, there are a lot of scams. There are a lot of scams. So you need to be careful. But as I was saying, is like, for example, when anytime I come across someone, for example, Malcolm X or Harriet Tubman, I try to look at the person, this black person, what is he famous about? Then I go ahead and read about him, try to look for books where I can get that information from. I think we all need to do that. And what we are doing is a very great initiative, but I think we also need to be there. I need to come and experience the little history that you have, and you also need to come and experience the little history that I have. Then we can start as one. Now we can start teaching each other where I come from and where you come from, your history and my history. Then we can start understanding each other. Why are you doing this and why am I doing this? You know.
Yeah. Well, my brother, JB, let me say this because I really have to run and get to the airport. I just want to end on this. I'm loving this. I mean, this is the dialogue we need. The average African American, African on the continent, African in Haiti, is miseducation. We need to throw out all the books and educate ourselves. I mean, even in talking about voodoo, to this day, we all react the same. Oh, voodoo. I love voodoo. I love it because I understand it. I understand it's one of the original.
You froze again.
Traditional religions, if you call it, or so we don't know that was one of the original.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Am I back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the original religions or spiritual systems, and we still in America and all over the world, when we hear voodoo, we get scared. It's foolishness.
Yeah.
If we don't know about it, we're going to be afraid of it. We were taught that, and I tell you, the propaganda started with voodoo. When I'm going to say it straight, when the Haitians kicked France's ass out of Haiti. They didn't know France, and they couldn't understand how did these people beat us. And then they got to it was through their spiritual system called, I guess it was called Verdun at the time. So they knew this powerful spiritual system, we have got to make it look ugly. So that's where the propaganda of voodoo started after France got their ass kicked in Haiti. So I mean, I'm going over to Haiti in a couple of days because I know what's going on. I know what's going on over there. It's all propaganda. I mean, it's really just a money laundering country right now for the Europeans. That's all the Clintons, all of them. That's all they use in '84.
Thanks for going to Haiti, brother.
To launder money. And they gave all the. In fact, I'm going in 3 days. I'll be over there in 3 days. I want to go for myself. So I have to see for myself. And I know the games they're playing over there, but Haiti is one of the countries that's really spiritually connected to Africa. I mean, I hang out with them all here in Dominican Republic. I hang out more with the Haitians here in the Dominican Republic, so I know a lot about it. That's why I'm going there. So we just have to let go all that we ever learned from the Europeans. Let it all go and relearn ourselves and take it from where we are today. So like I said, I love voodoo. I love it. I understand it. That's why I can say I love it, where it all came from. So France know what voodoo is. This is why France still got the noose around Haiti's neck. They still have it. You understand? So all I said, like I said, this is beautiful. We're able to communicate with each other. I love this. We have to continue this. Talking to each other. So once again, brother, I'm gonna hit that airport right now and go do what I have to do. I love y'all. Thanks for allowing me to participate.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim, as always.
Okay. Great show. I'll be talking. I will. Please. I'm not afraid of it at all. I'm embracing. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not afraid of it.
No, you don't have to be afraid of it. You definitely don't have to be afraid of it. It's a beautiful place and it's dear to my heart. That's where I'm from. So.
Do you have people there?
Yes, sir.
maybe I could reach out because I'm definitely going and I'm trying to make contacts and have a host family. Like I said, I have had a lot of Haitian friends here. They're not able to travel with me, so I'm willing to meet anyone that once I'm there because I would love
Got
to
you.
Mhm.
buy some land over there. But we'll definitely communicate on that, and I'm looking forward to Haiti. I love it.
Sounds good.
Thank you all.
Definitely.
Have a great day and a great continued show.
Thank you,
You
Jim.
too,
Thank
brother.
you.
Thanks.
All
Yeah,
right, brother, sister, I'll be in touch with y'all soon. You know it.
Okay. All right.
definitely.
All right, bye
Definitely.
bye.
Is it possible that you all can kind of explain what voodoo is? Because yeah, we think that it's all like magical spells and people being possessed, people putting curses on people. Can y'all explain what voodoo is?
I think John would be the best.
Joanne, you still
Yeah,
on?
and coming from, I understand the cultural part of it, and for me, I always see it as a Christian. I see it
Mhm.
very differently because my grandparents, my granddad was a voodoo priest, and there's two sides of it, from what I understand. There's a
Mhm.
good side, there is a bad side, and
Mhm.
so some things that you've heard is true on the bad side, because I've
Mhm.
heard stories of, um, my grandparents, people doing harm to each other because of voodoo, whether it's very mystical and magical. It's a very dark world. But you do have a side that, like for my grandparents, he was a voodoo priest in a sense of when the dark side does something to you, he was the one that come and help out and kind of provide cures for whatever that may have happened. And so my dad, he actually gave his life to Christ as a very young age and get away from that world. So I wasn't raised in it. Well, I just
Mhm.
heard stories of him, especially when they're sick. They had tradition and things that they had to do. But because I was not raised on voodoo, I cannot speak on it. But I've heard both sides as opposed to the good side and the bad side. But again, I'm a Christian, so I don't think it's I I don't like that world per se. So that's all I can say
Mhm.
about it.
Okay. Okay.
I think it's the same thing even right here. There's the bad and the good side. Just like the way she has explained it. If the bad does something to you, they can help you get out of it. If you want some successes like you have been told by some guy on Facebook, they can
Yes.
help you get it. But now the problem with that, it's some sort of a contract. You have to keep pleasing them for it to stay successful. So if you stop, maybe they say sacrifice a cow every year for you to honor them for blessing you. You have to do that every year, and if you stop, you'll be in trouble. You lose everything, or maybe you will get killed, or maybe they'll kill a member of your family. So it there's good and bad side of it.
Totally. And
Oh.
I've got an uncle that died at a very young age because of it. And like you were saying,
Mhm.
he wasn't able to keep up with the sacrifice and keep up with everything that he had to do. I've got aunts and
Mhm.
uncle that all died at a young age because of voodoo. And so with my dad giving him his life to Christ and never looked back, I'm like, that's not a world that I want to be in either.
Oh wow. So all right. So I won't respond to that guy.
Please don't.
I think that my final question for you all before I open it up is, what do you think that we can do to bridge the gap between us, between the Black Americans, the Africans, um,
Educate
and
ourselves.
Africa?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
If we really educate ourselves on each other's history
sure.
and traditions and where we come from, I think that'll be the best way to get away with these misconceptions and everything.
I also think another important thing is you guys need to visit Africa
Mhm.
to get that. I don't know if we need to visit US. We are still
Yes, we
scared
do.
of the police.
So are we.
But what yeah, yeah. So I think what we need to do is we need to visit each other.
Yes.
We need to see this. We need to find this connection, not just online. We need to see it by ourselves.
Physically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like sorry. It's like what brother Jim, I've been talking with him. He usually says, the minute I step on the land, all my answers will come. I'll get healing
Yes.
from within. So maybe even for us, when we step on the land that you guys suffered in, we will really
Mhm.
have an understanding of why maybe it's like that and why maybe they say you are like that. So I think it will work both ways for us.
Okay. Okay. Now, before I open it up, did you have any questions for me or for other Americans?
We do. Yeah,
oh,
we do.
Go ahead. Knock them out.
Yeah. So there's apart from having the misconception of hostility, there's a superiority complex. Like you guys, when you meet us, you feel like you are more superior than us. Is it true?
I'm not going to say that it's true, but it's something that we're taught. There's a concept called American exceptionalism that's taught here. So from childhood, you're taught you're an American. We are the greatest country in the world. You are taught that as a child. And throughout your entire life, if you do not say we are the greatest country in the world, you are shunned. So if a politician were to today come out and say, yeah, I think we're great, but there's others that are great, they'll look at us differently. Like Donald Trump's slogan is "Make America Great Again." That was his first one. His new one is "Keep America Great." So that's something that we've been taught. And then if we're taught, okay, we're great, we're these amazing people, and then we're told that you all are living in huts and poor and surrounded by mosquitoes and have no money and you're uneducated, we're going to see it as they're not like us. But that superiority complex isn't just with Africans; it's pretty much with everybody. So we go and talk to people from other countries, and then we realize that you all speak more than one language, and we only speak one, or that you all have socialized medicine, or that college is so much cheaper for you all, and that you all have more education in certain aspects than we do. So yeah, that superiority complex is there because again, we're taught it our entire lives.
And also I also because we've seen people complaining that if whenever they met an African American and they told them that they're African, they kind of said, no, we are not African. They don't want to be associated with being an African. I think that answers the question.
Well, believe it or not, there's still a lot of Africans Americans that have this resentment, and I've heard this recently. When we talk about slavery, we'll say, well, why are we claiming them? They never came to get us. Those Africans never came here to get us when we were enslaved. They abandoned us. They sold us into slavery. So there are still a lot of African Americans that have that mentality of, why would I connect with the people that sold us? Why would I connect with the people that never came and helped us? So that also leads to a sort of resentment that happens here. It's not as prominent as it once was, but you still hear it, especially from a lot of older people.
But with the knowledge of, I think Marcus Garvey was trying to bring people back home.
Sure.
Yeah, and also I think the Ethiopian emperor Haile Selassie managed to bring some Jamaicans to Ethiopia. I think what we don't have is a lot of knowledge of our history that keeps us from believing what we are fed.
Yes.
They saw us, never came for us.
Yeah. I think what we need to do is we need to go down to our history and to try to look at the real information. We need to get the real information about our own self. Because and I think this is something which starts in school, because I've seen guys saying from the US, and I think someone wrote that you are not taught the African history. No. I will tell you, in Africa, we also don't get a lot of it. We get a little of it, and if we get history about Africa, it's about maybe during colonization and after colonization. Something before colonization that doesn't, you don't find it in our book. You just find a little piece of it. Then you find things like origins. These guys came and did their own linguistics and decided now everybody from East and South Africa came from Congo. And some will tell you people from maybe in North Africa, or they try to learn the languages and pinpoint where people came from. But when you go to the real history of the people, you find people talking about different places, because before there are some people who went down to people and asked these questions before these people died, and they will tell you, for example, we came from Ethiopia, but these people say we from Congo. You see, they have those things. If we learn from them, we get the first information. And the problem is what is being taught in our schools is what they left. So we are being taught that we came from Congo, but our real history says we came from the north. We came from Ethiopia, you see? So there are things like that. And when it comes to things like, our Black history, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, we only get very little information about it. So it's on us that we go down and to find out. But the problem, I usually get this problem is, what about our kids? Because our kids are still going through this. What can we do to our children? Because if we manage to teach our children, we'll have won this war. Yeah. And yeah. Sorry?
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, like I said, I take it back to the whole Black Panther analogy. Before Black Panther, children had no idea that Africa could be great, prominent. We haven't. The mentality of Africa or the views of Africa that we've gotten is jungles or people in the bush. Like if you tell people that Africa has malls and mansions and shopping centers, they'll look at you like you're crazy. So no. So.
But in this age, brother, I think it's we really cannot let you guys just go away with it, because we have social media, we have YouTube, we have Instagram. You guys should be friends with guys in Africa to see these things. Really, in this age, we really shouldn't be letting such things happen. There are so many platforms to learn from.
Well, that's part of what we're doing, is because we're going to start reaching out to each other. We're going to start building those networks. I want to learn about the lifestyle. I want to learn about what you eat, how you live, if you party, what music you listen to. I can tell you which hip hop in America is trash, because there's a lot of it that is terrible in America. We can tell you, So I really think that's what we can do. Now, before I open it up to everyone else, do you have any other questions for me? Sure.
Yeah. So we watched some video where young guys, not very young, say young people, 20 and above, being asked whether they know anything about history.
Africa.
About Africa. And you find they ask, do you know any country in Africa? And they say, I don't know anything. Is it a thing? Is it common that our people don't know African countries? As in, don't they have some feeling of like belonging, like Africa can be home?
We know certain countries. We know Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, because of Akon. Akon made Senegal popular. We know South Africa because of Nelson Mandela. We know Kenya because what we know of Kenya and Namibia is that they have the animals. That's all that we know about those countries. We know of Egypt because of the pyramids. We know of Rwanda because of the genocide. And we know of
But can you ask us, a young kid, if they know any country in Africa, and they'll tell you they do, or you don't instill it in them at a very young age?
Because some didn't know even one.
Like big school going children.
Yeah.
Well, I know what my family we do, but it's not necessarily taught by the families, because they themselves, the parents never learned about it in school. I'm going to show you what we thought Cleopatra looked like for years. Like, for instance, a lot of people don't know that in Egypt, the Sahara was a rainforest. They had no idea. Yeah. And we know of the Sahara as a desert. We never knew that the Sahara was a rainforest. We thought that Egyptians were white or white looking. So I'm actually going to show you. We made a movie in America about Cleopatra. She's Egyptian, she's African. This is what we were told that Cleopatra looked like. Yeah.
And I think there's a movie coming up where people are complaining because they want to put some Jewish actor to be Cleopatra.
Yes, Gal Gadot, who was in Wonder Woman. Yeah, she's the new Cleopatra. A white woman is the new Cleopatra. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that of Africa. When we hear Rwanda, we think about Hotel Rwanda, the genocide. Again, Nigeria, Ghana are the only places that's really spoken of in a positive light. Kind of.
Yeah.
You know, Senegal is popular only because of Akon. That's the only reason anybody ever talks about Akon. You know, when you speak to most Black Americans about Liberia, they don't know that Liberia was an emancipated country. They know of the war in Liberia with, I believe, Charles Taylor, who was their president. We know of the war there. That's what we know of. South Africa, we know because of the apartheid. But if you ask us about Tanzania, or as we call it, Tanzania, we know nothing about that. We don't relate to it because we don't know anything about it. Swaziland. To be honest with you, the only thing I know about Swaziland is Swazi Gold. That's all that you can smoke it. And I heard it's a very good form of marijuana. So that's the only thing that I know of Swaziland. So
at least you are known for something.
Yes. Very good marijuana. So yeah, that's definitely a difference. Yeah, you know, I'm already saying this is gonna have to be a part 2. We're definitely gonna have to come back next week. This is definitely gonna have to be a 2-parter. But yeah, go ahead. I'll let you finish your questions.
Maybe we can open it to the floor. We will be asking as yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, before I open it up, I'm actually excited to say that I have a sponsor for the first time ever. Wow. The Q&A section is actually sponsored by the Jersey Bearcats Arena Football League. They're a proud member of the American Arena Football League. Their football season is actually going to be starting soon. So there will be American Arena Football within the next few weeks. I know out there you guys probably don't play that type of football. You'll probably play soccer.
I need to add on that for people who are repatriating back to Africa, someone can start American football. We have rugby, but there's no American football in
We had these YouTubers who went to the Gambia. They promised to start something like that, and I saw there's a lot of people who are interested in it. So I think if you guys could bring it here, because we see it only on the movies and everything. And young kids, I think a lot of young kids could really like to be groomed. And I know Jim has played it and he's good in it.
Yeah. Well, when I come out there, I'll bring you football.
You also did.
I'm sorry?
You also played?
Yes, I played too.
Oh, wow. So we really need you guys to cover.
Yes, I'll come out there. I'll bring a couple of footballs, teach you guys how to play. And I also have to buy that thing. Was it Mukumbero?
Yeah.
Mukumbero? I need to buy that because I heard that it's very prominent. I don't know if the rest of the people, everybody from Africa nods their head when I talk about Mukumbero. They're like, yeah, you need to buy that.
Yeah, I think everyone knows that. Mukumbero.
Yeah. Out here we have Viagra. Out here we have Viagra.
Yeah. We also have it here, right?
Yeah. Mukumbero is a vine-like. It's a vine-like plant which has a lot of benefits, from sexual improvement in the root to very medicinal properties. So you find people say that is the natural Viagra here in Kenya. Yeah.
Also, I wanted to ask if you guys take traditional herbs and everything.
Only the ones that they sell at Vitamin Shop, but usually not a lot of African herbs. So I need to learn about the African herbs. If you guys can provide a list of the herbs that you have out there so that I can order them here, because all of our stuff here is killing us and making us sick. So
because it depends on where you are.
There are herbs everywhere.
Then there are different herbs in different places. Yeah.
We have medicines here that make us fat. So we actually have medicines here for that, like if you have a nasal problem or a respiratory problem, and it makes you fat. That's one of the side effects. It makes you gain about 30 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
And people buy that?
They don't, because they don't know about the natural herbs. The doctors will give you medicine. At
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
point, I had some health issues some years ago, and luckily, the doctor that I went to, she was also a holistic doctor, so she wrote down a lot of the herbs that I needed to take. She said, "I'm going to give you these 5 prescriptions. You have a choice. You can take these 5 prescriptions, or you can cure yourself naturally. But most doctors here will just give you pills."
Wow.
Yeah.
So what
Most
was the natural way you have gone with?
I started to do hemp seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, a lot more fruits and vegetables. I started to integrate those things into my diet, maca root. But they were trying to give me about 5 or 6 different pills, and they actually said, "Hey, those pills are working." I said, "I never took them."
Yeah, there's one traditional doctor here who
Mhm.
keeps on telling us this traditional medicine should be like vegetables.
Mhm.
It should not affect you in any way. You should not get side effects,
Overdose.
and it's like apart from healing you, it improves your immunity, gives you nutrients because it's food. So
Yo, I need y'all to bring that over here. Yeah,
sorry.
we need that over here.
Yeah. But I think you need first to come here and test it from here.
I will. I'm planning on maybe coming up there, maybe February, depending on how this whole COVID thing works out. So my goal is to come out there.
Yeah,
'Cause
Africa itself, we have different herbs for everything, like literally everything. Even COVID, I know for sure that COVID, what is it called? That herb in
COVID
Madagascar.
organics, yeah.
I know for sure it works. It's just that it's the propaganda and everything. They are trying to bring it down. But I know for sure it does work.
You know what? I'm gonna be asking questions about that next week because I have about another 15 questions I didn't even ask this week. So yeah, definitely. Are you all willing to come back next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So let's.
Same time.
Yes.
I'm not sure about Abdullahi
Yeah,
and
great.
Kipiegon.
Yes, I am.
What'd you
Thank
say?
you.
Great.
Definitely. Okay. Cool. Well, let's get to some of these questions. Joanne had a question.
Yeah, I want to say I love this so much. I'm so glad I saw it in the chat and I was able to join. I mean, it's beautiful, the conversation. Thank you guys for. Are you guys currently in Africa right now?
Yes, Kenya.
Wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful. Thank you for joining us and sharing about what you guys learn and opening our eyes to. That's beautiful. My question was, do you guys consider South Africa as an African country?
South Africa.
Uh-huh.
Sorry?
Yes. Do you consider
Yes.
South Africa as an African country?
I think we have a 50-50. I think we have a 50-50 feeling about it because you find that you have some part of South Africa where it's just only white and there's a lot of racism there. There's a lot of really negative, a negative vibe towards the black people. And then there's a part of South Africa, like when you go to KwaZulu-Natal and those really traditional places, the Xhosa places, you find that there you feel like you are African, you are black and everything.
Yeah.
So I think personally I have, when I go to Pretoria and some areas in South Africa, I don't even feel like I'm in Africa or I'm amongst my people or anything like that. And when I go to Durban, now Durban, the city itself, you find that there are Indians. There's a part where it's just Indians, so you feel like you're out of the place. And then when you go now to the rural places in, I cannot mention now the real villages now, where there's black people, it's just people speaking Zulu and Xhosa and Ndebele. Now you feel African and everything. So I think really depending on where you are, you feel like it's an African country.
Yeah, I went to South Africa in 2008, and I was kind of disappointed, to tell you the truth, because I was expecting this beautiful marriage between white and black, but I totally forgot about apartheid. And then of course I felt like where I was staying there, I wasn't. When I was able to see some African, some true African. I went to this town where they still have the shanty house. I mean, it was great. But I'm like, man, I can't really say that I went to Africa because I went to South Africa. And I wonder, I should definitely go to some other countries where I can truly experience the African culture. So that's why I wanted to ask.
You went to Johannesburg.
I went to Johannesburg, yes, and I went to another
Johannesburg. Okay.
Yeah, I went to another town right outside of Johannesburg.
Mm-hmm. Pretoria.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
that was good.
Pretoria is just white people and their houses and, you know, minding their own business. And when you go to Cape Town, it's even worse.
I went to Cape Town
feels
too.
like you're in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels so out of Africa. Okay. So I think really you had to go to the villages, Ngogo and all those places, really down in the Xhosa villages, the Zulus, where those African people live. Maybe you would have felt the African vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joanne. One of the questions that was asked in the chat is, what do Africans think of Barack Obama?
Okay. Barack Obama, when he became president, we felt like a Kenyan has become a president of America. So we knew we would be getting a lot of goodies. But I think some years down the line, people are complaining that he's not visiting Kenya because you know his grandma is here. So what do you think about Barack Obama? My opinion, I think he messed us. Because if you look at Gaddafi was killed during his time, and Gaddafi is the person who was like he had this. He was our hope. He was our African hope, and apart from that, during Obama's time is where we would be hearing countries like Uganda or Kenya being pushed to allow gay rights and abortion rights. You know, there are those. So I don't think we gained anything from Barack Obama. Personally, I don't. I think we lost.
Lost. Okay.
If you allow me to say something, I think that like from a domestic perspective for you guys in the US, I think that like he did a lot as a president. He changed a lot. He tried to improve, you know, the healthcare system and all that. So so when it comes to that domestic policies, I think that like yes, he was a good president. But when it comes to foreign policies and his involvement, for instance, in North Africa with what happened in Libya, what happened in like Middle East and all that, the situation was not really good, especially with the Hillary Clinton and all that. So we had like all Africans had a lot of hope with Muammar Gaddafi, for instance, in Libya, because ever since I was a kid, like Libya has been investing heavily in structuring initiatives across Africa. You know, initiatives that meant change for us. You know, like building like working on resilient activities. A lot of capacity strengthening for government, local government, and all that. So when it comes to that, we had a lot of hope, especially at the African Union level. He was president of the African Union at some point. And then since Libya was a very rich country when it comes to oil and all that, they had all those reserves accumulated that the African needed to, how do you say, that the African Union needed to conduct certain changes when it comes to monetary independence and all that, monetary policies and everything. So we were very disappointed when the thing happened in Libya and all that, and so that we are still paying for the for this conflict, because all the issues that you hear in Mali with the terrorists and all that, a lot of the region has been destabilized a lot in Africa because of the fall of Muammar Gaddafi.
Oh wow! Now here's the flip side. What do you all think of Donald Trump? We probably have the same views, but I'll allow you to state your views on Donald Trump.
Wilson, do you want to start?
Okay,
He's the
personally,
worst
I think he's an arrogant and stupid person. That's what I think. And
That's how we feel too.
because when he started, like the things he did, for example, he called
Calling
Africa
Africa
a shithole.
Yes.
He started kind of making it difficult for maybe Africans. And you know, here in Africa, we get, you know, with the slogan of making America great, and America first. It comes with a lot of other things. It comes with blackmail. You know, for example, I'll tell you, some times ago, the East African community decided that we are done with second hand clothes because we want to promote our people making their own clothing rather than taking already worn out clothing. And what happened is they got a warning from the US that if you do this, you can stop bringing your, you know, we have this AGOA where like a partnership where the US kind of trying to promote African made clothes. So we get like a free market to take our things to the US through AGOA. So they were told, if you block our second hand clothes, then do not bring your things here. So it's US becomes a bully to Africa. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think he's I don't know.
Just racist.
Yeah, he's also a racist. So
yeah, there's a lot of
think
people here that
also
don't think
with
so,
him,
which is crazy.
I don't know if it's the media that has reported more on the racism in the US or it's him being in power. I really don't know. But during his time, you've seen a lot of racism, a lot of killings and everything. So I don't know if it's the media reporting more or it's him being a racist leader. Maybe you can enlighten.
I think that what happened is that the racism has always been here, but when they elected Barack Obama, they had to hide. So when he came, they all came out and said, "Oh, he's one of us." So they all came back out, and I think that's what it is. So he stokes racism. Like when Barack Obama was running for president, he was telling them things like, "Oh, well, he's a Kenyan, so he shouldn't be your president." We need to see his birth certificate. Said things like, "How did his daughter get into Harvard? My daughter couldn't get into Harvard," which is, you know, our premier college. So it's kind of promoting that idea. So other people kind of resonated and said, "Oh, wait, someone in power agrees with me." So they all came out the woodwork. And even when we had our most recent presidential debate, he refused to condemn the racists. There's a group called the Proud Boys, and they asked him what he knows about them. And he lied and said, "I've never heard of them," when he did. And then he told them, "Stand down, but stand by." Yeah, he said that during a presidential debate. So, yeah. Anyone else from Africa have an opinion on Donald Trump?
Yes, I think that like we basically have the same coverage of Donald Trump, like because the news that we get from him is coming from you guys, you know. So, but when it comes to the interaction with Africa, I think that like the how do you say, the diplomatic relations, like they were almost inexistent, you know. When it comes to that, when it comes to economic cooperation, also I don't think of any major partnership that have been concluded during the how do you say, the Trump administration. So
yes,
we are not really affected by Trump's policies, you know. But when it comes to domestic policies in the US, I don't know that much of what happened exactly. I know that like when it comes to healthcare, for instance, you guys had a lot of issues because like you tried to remove the Obamacare and all that. I know that he's trying to prioritize America first. And I understand that like some Americans that are more like that are, how do you say, are struggling economically, that are, let's say, making working within the automotive industries and all that, that are seeing like that he's taxing everything coming from those people. From the perspective, I can understand that those person will try to vote for Trump because they'll say that like, okay, he's trying to promote my industry by blocking imports from China and all that. Even if it's a bit complex than that sometimes, because it means that like cars in the US are more expensive, for instance. But I can understand that some American, and even if we don't like it, like I know that like there's a majority of American that are supporting Trump. They have their reasons, huh? Not to not to not to I don't want to alienate them or like to minimize, but like they have their reasons. I can understand. Maybe it's because like it's job related, this taxation it's related to taxes and all that. So I can understand that. But yes, that's my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. It's hit or miss. You have some people, you either love Trump or you hate him here. That's pretty much what it is. It's usually not much in between. It's one or the other. He's very, very polarizing. He likes to create controversy because if he divides people, he has that whole divide and conquer mentality. And unfortunately, he might win re-election because the guy that he's running the greatest campaign. So, like, if Barack Obama would have run again, or Barack Obama would have won, definitely. The guy he's running against now is 76 years old or 77. Donald Trump is 74. So we have a bunch of old white men running for president. Again, Barack Obama was a young black man, and he accomplished a lot for us, just with our healthcare. Like, you all have universal healthcare. Everywhere else in the world has it but us. We're the only ones. And when you ask most Americans about it, they'll say, hey, well, from what I hear, it's terrible. It takes you like 8 months to go to the doctor. They prioritize who's healthy. If you're about to die, they decide whether or not you live when you go to the hospital. That's what we're taught. And I'm just like, well, all of the world has that.
Actually, I told you we have health insurance where we just pay $5 per month.
I don't mean to laugh. The reason that's funny is my father, who has a pretty nice job, is paying $500 a month.
What?
I work for
and
the
I wanted
state.
to ask about that job. Yeah.
Sure.
Just go on.
No, I was gonna say, and I work for the state, and I have a pretty good job, and I pay over $100 a month for health, just for medical, not even for dental, just medical. So, but yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys how difficult is it for an ordinary African American to get a very nice job like you have, you have in the US? Do you have to go through some channels? Like for us, for example, unless in most African countries, unless you know someone in power or in that organization or company to link you, somehow, now corruption comes into play. Then you can be connected in most of the African countries. Is it the same for you guys?
No, you can get a job here. You can, getting up to certain positions of power may be difficult because you do still have institutional racism. So, like for instance, the position that I have now, it took me 4 years to get the job. And I had to get 29 certifications to even get an interview for the job. So it's available. You are able to become successful here in America. I mean, again, you do have racism. You do have certain social constructs that make things difficult for us here in America. But yeah, if you come here and if you're willing to work, you'll get a job. It might not be the job that you want, but you can get a job here. Definitely. I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up in a few. Joanna, did you have this? Was your hand up for the same question, or did you have another question?
I'm so sorry. That was old and I never took it down.
Okay. All right. What I think we're gonna have to do is we're probably gonna have to come back next week if you all are available.
We and I would love to ask anybody else to bring someone to try and so that we can have a bigger number.
Yeah, definitely. We can have this dialogue. I'm going to bring some more people next week. We definitely want to have this dialogue. What I want to do is, for those of you that are new to the show, I'm going to give you all my social media so that we can keep in contact through the show, and you can also see old episodes of my show. Because with my show, I cover a lot of things that affect us as Black people. There's a lot of things that affect us that we don't really deal with. For instance, depression, anxiety, molestation, rape, suicide, which I want to get into next week. And these are things that we don't talk about. They're so taboo. And we say that they don't happen to us. We say that, oh, we sweep it under the rug. I don't know if you all have an issue with this in Africa, where if someone's depressed or if someone's molested, you kind of keep it in the family.
Yeah.
And,
It's
you know,
all in our
culture.
it's all in our culture. Like we
Yeah.
say, a man should not cry. So
Yeah.
you find sometimes back our vice president was
Mhm.
got emotional and cried, and now
Mhm.
people call him a cry baby.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the mentality here. You know, so I've covered these things before. I've covered depression, daddy issues. So for those of you that haven't seen my show before, I put my YouTube information in the chat. So I've had these conversations uh, with Black Americans, and I'm pretty sure that it affects you all in Africa. You know, when I talked about the depression, when I spoke about finance, daddy issues, I did an episode called "Am I Black Enough?" Because it's called "Am I Black Enough?" What it means to be Black in Black America. Because even in America, we have our own racial identities within ourselves. I've done episodes on suicide, molestation, homelessness. These are things that affect us. Surviving the criminal justice system. I have a buddy of mine who was sent to prison and he shouldn't have been, and it ruins his life. He has post-traumatic stress disorder because he was sent to prison and he wound up being homeless after that. He was sent to prison at 19 and wound up in an insane asylum at 19 because he called the police for help and they arrested him. So we're definitely covering this information. So please, please, please subscribe to the YouTube channel Fall to Rise Podcast. Subscribe to the Instagram. Subscribe to the Facebook. I'll have updated information. And you all have your own YouTube channel, which is what is it?
Africans for Africa.
Africans
I think
for Africa.
by Africans for Africa. Yeah.
It's on the chat.
It's in the chat. Yeah. So please subscribe to both YouTube channels, Africans for Africa. Do you all have an Instagram or YouTube or I'm sorry, Instagram or Facebook that you want to share or no? Oh, okay. Personal accounts. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
I think
So we're gonna cover.
because okay.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was saying the YouTube channel is okay for now because we have separate accounts, just personal accounts.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is please subscribe to the YouTube, the Instagram, the Facebook again, Fall to Rise Podcast, and Africans by Africans. I'm gonna look at the
By
chat.
Africans for Africa. So what we do basically, we promote things created by Africans for the continent of Africa. Yeah. So anything that is the idea for our channel.
As well as our cultures and a lot of other things. So that's our plan. We just started like 3 weeks ago. We are planning on putting a lot of content that will be very important in teaching you guys about us, especially on culture and history side. Yeah.
Definitely.
And promoting those guys who are doing it in the continent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know for sure, sorry, brother. I know for sure one thing that you guys know about us is that we are lazy. We don't like to work. I don't know what, we are beggars and everything. So we're trying to change all of that. Yeah, is it true by the way?
That's good. No, I've never heard that Africans are lazy.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I've personally never heard that.
Okay.
There may be some lazy Africans out there, but we know Africans as being very hardworking.
Yeah.
And very well educated. One thing that we do know about you all is that you all love to wear sandals. That's one thing that we
all love to what, sorry?
Sandals.
Wear sandals.
Yes.
Oh God,
that's one thing that we do know about you all.
I think I hate clothes true.
That's actually true.
It's true. I hate clothes.
Yeah.
I'm sure
So,
all of these guys own a pair of sandals, right, Abdullah?
Oh,
Yes, yes, we all own sandals. Don't worry.
Oh,
I
God.
do not own a pair of sandals. I have not owned a pair of sandals since I was 5.
James
Wow.
is just being silly. That's all.
I do
Oh.
not. No, we own sandals, but I personally have not worn sandals since I was 5 years old. So
Wow.
no one needs to see my feet. No. I know that you all have sandals out there. What I did is I shared the link to the YouTube channel online in the chat. But I really thank you so much for coming on. I really do. I look forward to next week because I have so many more questions. I'm pretty sure you all have so many more questions. Bring your friends.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're gonna tear this gap down ourselves. We're gonna build this bridge ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, people are so quick to talk about the problems between
Yeah.
Black
Yeah, and
Americans.
yeah. Sorry, I think we have a lot to talk about from
do.
our culture, how we bring up our kids, because I think we have a lot of similarities in that.
Mm.
We do.
How we get affected by certain things, how, like you said, how our people are being affected by depression and all that, and a lot
Yeah.
of other things, our different spiritualities, our history.
Mhm.
There are a lot of things to bridge.
Yeah, it is. It is. And people are so quick to talk about how messed up Blacks are, Black Americans or Africans are. And okay, that's cool. What are we gonna do to fix it? And I think that this is that first step to us fixing it.
Mm.
So I really look forward to next week. Thank you all for coming on. Thank you to all of you that are tuning in. I really appreciate you more than you will ever know. We'll definitely be back next week. We're going to dig a little bit deeper. If you have any questions, write them down. Remember them. We're going to get to the next week. If you have friends, bring your friends. Definitely bring your
We've
friends.
also
Bring
shared
people
our
on
WhatsApp
board.
number. Yeah, sorry.
What'd you say?
We have shared our WhatsApp number on the chat. WhatsApp.
Okay, yeah. So you have your WhatsApp number so that we can build the bridge. We're going to build a little community. I'm going to still come out to Kenya. I'm going to get some of that mukumbero because it's like I need to grab some of that.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. So
Okay, great.
I definitely appreciate you. Thank you all again, and I'll see you all next week.
Thank you so much,
brother.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, goodbye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.